So this is glorious. This is just beautiful. This is one of my favorite things on planet Earth to exist. So obviously what we're about to get into is Matt Taibbi's tumultuous, his up and down, his fling with a billionaire propagandist and the richest man in the world, right? Who seduced, this journalist at a, crossroads in his career. He's left Rolling Stone magazine. He's not sure how the Useful Idiots is going to go, right? And he's like, Matt, you're a real smart guy. You want to make a fortune in PR instead of journalism? Well, let's see if we can work together. They had a moment in the sun, and here we are. But let's turn back the clock a moment, Gavin. Let's turn back the clock just a little bit to December 7th, 2021. All right, a day that will live in infamy for people who know. A year before Elon Musk hands him the Twitter files, right? After he bought the company, sits him down, and with Barry freaking Weiss, who, you guys won't even believe it, actually showed more backbone and journalistic integrity. I swear to God, I would never give Barry Weiss credit that she didn't deserve than Matt Taibbi, a man who I owe my entire career arc too. I would have, had I not read Matt Taibbi, I would have never read Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail 1972. I would have never, been primed for the Bernie Bro era. I remember
you read Fear and Loathing 72. I would have been like, bro, check this out at some point. But I know
at some point, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't have been as young. I wouldn't have been like, we wouldn't have been like grinding out the way we were anyway. All this is to say that we, Gavin and I, we take no pride in absolutely shredding this man. But fortunately, we don't have to do it. He does it himself. Gavin, do you have anything to add before we play this absolutely merciless clip?
Go for it.
That's like sort of apropos to all this is in Seymour Hersh's book. It's his memoir, Reporter. There's a story about how in the early 90s, the CIA wanted everybody to know that they had caught, I think it was an Israeli spy. And so they called up Hersh because Hersh
Matt
was the
on
biggest,
1.5, by the way,
investigative reporter in the country. And they invited him in and they said, look, we're going to show you all this material, right? And they brought him into a room and they just gave him a whole packet of stuff, right? But he couldn't, like his entire body rebelled. He's like, I had spent my whole life getting the things. I could not be handed the things, what I mean? Because it's just not in his nature, right? Like to be spoon-fed, right? And like I think that's true with comics, with any kind of journalist. Like once you start getting handed things, then you've lost. You know what I mean? They have you at that point.
They have you.
And have you? They do, Matt. Oh my gosh, boy, just utter humiliation to see how he knew exactly what he was doing, guys. He's not an idiot. He knows he's doing the right-wing grift. He knows he's jerking off all of the, delusional fucking like antagonists. The contrarians. Yeah, bro. It's just like crazy how the people I used to lampoon and were obviously full of shit for the first 30 years of my career. Wow, they were right all along. It's crazy. Donald Trump Jr. is actually one of the few voices for truth in this country, bro.
Yeah, I couldn't believe this shit. He was on Donald Trump Jr.'s show, stooping to maybe the lowest low. It's one thing to go on Fox News, pal around with Greg Gutfeld and shit, but this is a whole new low. Anyway, we got some juicy drama revolving around the whole Matt Taibbi and Elon Musk beef, because exactly as Zach and I predicted from day one, your loyalty to Elon Musk is never actually going to be rewarded. When it comes to a narcissist con man like Elon Musk or Donald Trump, you can kiss up all you want, you can defend them in public, you can basically throw your own reputation and career in the trash just in order to appease them. And ultimately, it's going to mean absolutely nothing. It's never going to be rewarded because you're dealing with a narcissist. That's just how they work. So Matt Taibbi, of course, after destroying his reputation to become Elon Musk's little henchman and manufacture consent for his takeover of Twitter, which, by the way, totally destroyed Twitter. Here we are all these months later, and the site has been drove into the ground. It has more bots on it than ever. You guys know what's up if you're on Twitter.
Can we put a pin in that and let's talk about that for 1 second, because I want to remind everybody all of the elements here. You and I have followed the fuck out of this because, Gavin, nobody on planet Earth loves Twitter more than you. I'm prepared to say that. If there's one person on planet Earth who loved Twitter and YouTube with lefty content, that's Gavin. Okay? This is a man he's been in that shit since high school, bro. I swear to God. So I was like, Gavin, you're really invested in this, right? And you were like, yeah, man, I don't. And we immediately, they were like, we're going to have real free speech on Twitter. And we were like, the richest man on earth is not going to give you real free speech on Twitter, because what does he mean when he says real free speech on Twitter? Well, he's going to let a bunch of white supremacist Nazi accounts back on, because that's who's going to celebrate him, right? That's what these guys want. Well, what did we come out here and say? Okay, even if we were willing to say, like, we're going to go to the mats and be free speech absolutists, and as long as it's not a direct threat of violence, like, we're ready to go out here and make our case, because we know that if there is equal free speech applied to Twitter, which we did not believe Elon Musk was going to impose, but for the sake of argument, we were willing to say, I think this is the correct outcome, right? Gavin and I have always been pro free speech on social media, but we were very skeptical that the richest man in the world was going to come to deliver that, because, well, we weren't born yesterday, right? Since then, Elon Musk has on countless occasions violated and contradicted himself. First, he said that he wasn't going to, come after that teenager that was tracking his private flights. Then he bitched and moaned about how he was doxxed, to which case then he also went and tweeted about how he was at like the World Cup in Qatar or something. They were like, wow, crazy how you just doxed yourself, right, Elon? So you have that there. Then he talked about how no decisions were going to be made, no executive decisions were going to be made at Twitter until there was like he basically ripped off Joe Rogan's old bit about a tribe of elders, which Joe Rogan used to, conveniently advocate that Elon Musk be a part of. But he was like, we're going to have a majority rule board on Twitter, and they're going to be our, free speech, yada, yada. You guys all remember this, right? Didn't happen, right? And as time went on, it became more and more, unexplained bannings, right? There was the whole, don't even get it started on the whole blue check mark thing, which is absolutely rigged. So that was an abject failure, right? On top of that, now even his biggest fans and cheerleaders, people like Matt Taibbi, people like Barry Weiss, people who had been, incredible cheerleaders of restoring free speech to Twitter, even they have had to accept the fact that they got played. They got absolutely rolled by the richest man on earth. Shocker. And now they have to, I guess just live with the fact that, they've shredded their reputation. I mean, nobody will ever take Matt seriously as a journalist again. He's only going to be viewed as a contrarian propagandist from here on out, and he did that to himself. And that's after decades of great reporting. Great.
Yeah, you're totally right, Zach. He obviously was never actually interested in making Twitter a bastion of free speech or anything like that. He immediately proved all of his critics like ourselves correct by turning Twitter into an even more authoritarian and censorious platform than it was under the previous regime, which, by the way, we never defended. We never made excuses for the previous regime at Twitter. They were incredibly censorious, and there was a lot of, shenanigans going on that I thought were definitely sus, right? But to basically take this assignment from Elon Musk and use it to manufacture consent for his takeover, as I said, instead of actually looking into what Musk himself was going to do with the platform and, trying to expose that as well, taking this assignment and doing exactly what Elon Musk wanted him to for the sake of painting this narrative that, the old Twitter was super authoritarian. The old Twitter was super censorious, but luckily the new one won't be. That was, of course, the kind of unspoken implication of the Twitter files. Let's uncover how bad it used to be. Thank God it's not like that anymore, right? Of course, we've never had an X-Files. I guess we haven't an X-Files, but we've never had a Twitter Files 2.0 where Matt Taibbi gets into any of Elon Musk's shenanigans or even says anything critical whatsoever about the way he's controlled the platform, right? Which is incredibly hypocritical given that Matt Taibbi has always claimed to care, first and foremost about free speech and censorship. So here, all of a sudden, he finds himself working for not only the world's richest man, someone who's notorious for exploiting workers around the world, skirting regulations, creating products that aren't safe and that endanger the public, et cetera, but also someone who can't even live up to the very low bar of I'm not going to be as censorious as the previous Twitter regime, which he tasked Matt Taibbi to expose. Of course, in the process, he only gave Matt Taibbi access to a small sliver of the actual Twitter files. I remember Brianna Joy Gray did a great interview with Matt Taibbi where she exposed that. And she was like, so did you get access to all of the Twitter files, or did you just get access to the small section of the pie that Elon Musk wanted you to see? And Matt Taibbi had to admit that, yeah, he only got access to the small sliver of the pie that Elon Musk wanted him to see. So who knows what else is in there? Who knows what else we'll never know about? Because Elon Musk, again, the world's richest man, decided that we don't need to know about that stuff. Who knows if it would make him look bad or if it would make the conservative movement look bad? Who knows? But the fact of the matter is this was selectively reported on and controlled by a billionaire from the very beginning to manufacture consent for his takeover of a giant speech platform. I don't want to say free speech platform because it never was, but a giant platform of communication, a platform that connects the world in many ways. A very important, I mean, not to oversell what Twitter is, but this was a pretty serious place.
It's the public square of our times. We argued that long before the Twitter files, Gavin, and I think we have, always lived by that. And what's crazy is that you couldn't have drawn up a better example. You did an impeccable job laying it out right there. A perfect parallel to what he cites. And for people who haven't read Reporter by Cy Hirsch, great book, great memoir, right? You get to hear, I mean, that dude had principles throughout his entire life, unlike Matt Taibbi, going back from when he was the press secretary for McCarthy. And he was like, hey, you were racist as and I grew up on the south side of Chicago, like I'm resigning from your campaign, all the way until the end of his career, always had principles. So embarrassing for Matt to try and, cozy up in that company when he has absolutely none of the conviction that Seymour Hersh had. I mean, Seymour Hersh was a legend, but you compare that and he says, oh, you're just getting handed it to you. And Seymour Hersh wasn't, again, like I said, he wasn't born yesterday. He knew if he was getting information from the government, from the deep state, basically, essentially what it is. If there is a deep state, it's the CIA, it's the alphabet agencies, it's the people who maintain their power regardless of the electoral cycle, yada, yada, yada. Then of course they're not giving you the whole pie. They're giving you a sliver, and it's the sliver they want you to report on. And that's how governments manipulate reporters all the time. And we talk about how that's a problem and how it's incredibly pervasive. And it's nuts because Matt Taibbi was one of the most effective, purveyors of that argument throughout the entire Russiagate scandal. He was constantly lampooning journalists for unnamed sources within intelligence community and like, oh yeah, so just propaganda, whatever they want to tell you, they'll tell you. That's exactly how we got everybody to parrot things like weapons of mass destruction or the baby and incubator story or all the other infamous lies that the American people were told for nefarious reasons. And for Matt Taibbi to come out and say explicitly, oh, I was by the richest man on planet Earth. I was given a bunch of PR files. I was given a bunch of private company information to sift through and publish to make Jack Dorsey look bad. And my new boss, Elon Musk, yes, the guy who is paying me, that's PR. It's not journalism. So the fact that Matt Taibbi tried to, do a head fake and use like every ounce of his credentials that he ever had and, lie to people and say that he was doing journalism and, oh, the Twitter files was some big break. No, it wasn't.
Yep. And under Elon Musk, of course, Twitter didn't just get more censorious because, he wanted to ban his critics. No, much like the previous regime, he actually started immediately collaborating with other foreign governments to enforce their censorship as well. Most infamously, of course, the example being when he allowed the Indian government to straight up block other political candidates from the platform, making it easier for the incumbent to win. Of course, Mehdi Hasan pointed that out. Matt Taibbi was like, why don't you have me on the show to talk about it then? If you want to diss Elon, he did. Mehdi Hasan invited Taibbi on his program, interviewed him, and he had no response whatsoever.
Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. Look, I didn't criticize him really before. And
so you got the job, Matt.
What the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think
understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry, you say that Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first. I'm not looking at it now.
Hold on.
And of course, this was the story he came on to talk about. Like literally, it was based on a tweet about this exact story that he agreed to come on and argue with Mehdi, or at least defend his reporting. And as you see there in the first second, Mehdi Hasan says, will you criticize Elon Musk?
Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to.
No, Daddy will be mad at me if I say something mean about him. I might not be getting my next pay bump.
Right.
He's not gonna let me swim in his pool, Dad.
And honestly, I would have more mixed feelings about the Twitter files if Matt had, taken that opportunity to say, of course I criticize this. What do you think, I am, some hypocrite? And then I guess devoted the next several months of his journalism to exposing Elon Musk. In that instance, I would be like, well, I wouldn't have taken the Twitter files, but at least he's consistent. The fact that he's shut the up about Elon Musk, never criticized the way he runs Twitter, despite it being far more censorious and far more dysfunctional in basically every way. I mean, if you guys use Twitter a lot, you know how bad the bot problem is getting. Here's a Matt Binder report. Notice an uptick in bots on X. You're not alone. New data provided to me by one cybersecurity firm found nearly 76% of traffic from X to its client sites was fake during Super Bowl weekend. No other platform came close to that. So, of course, Elon Musk is totally driving this platform into the ground. But either way, the point is, if you ever cared about Twitter as a place for discourse, digital version of the public square, there's no doubt about it. Elon Musk has totally it up in just about every single possible way. And of course, after all of this went down, after Matt Taibbi totally embarrassed himself, he still got completely thrown under the bus by Elon Musk simply for, I guess, sticking up for his own platform on Substack, which Elon Musk decided to stop allowing people to share links to on X at the time. You guys might remember this, but it seems to be around that time that Musk and Taibbi sort of broke up. Because Elon Musk wanted Matt Taibbi to literally leave Substack, the platform he had spent months promoting, to take his reporting to Twitter exclusively. That's how I understand the situation. That was too far even for Matt Taibbi. He's like, all right, I've done enough. I've already completely embarrassed myself. I'm not going to throw Substack under the bus too. And at that point, like I said, Elon Musk basically completely cut him off. And that's why we have these conversations now leaking. So Matt Taibbi finally, all these months later, deciding to criticize Elon Musk, but not because Elon Musk is a censorious, authoritarian, megalomaniacal freak who's ruined the platform that Matt Taibbi thought was important enough to report on in the first place. Not because of that. But because, of this personal petty spite and this little back and forth beef over, him being shadow banned. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for Elon Musk.
Child. He's such a little petulant little boy too. It's so funny. It's so hilarious. And it's like one of the things we like to say on this podcast: play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? Matt's got his own stupid prize for buying, like, you know what I mean? Oh gosh, you want to play with the snakes in the pit? You're going to get bit. You know what I mean? That's the way the world works. You know what I mean? So it's absolutely insane. And also, this is all lies, in case anybody's curious. There's no way that Substack stole a massive amount of their data, right? But anyway, do you want to read through these, Gavin?
Yeah, sure. Might as well. So Elon and Matt Taibbi, these are their text messages. And Matt said, since Elon Musk published part of these conversations, I might as well include others. I was under a quote unquote blanket search ban at one point, and a lot of my 1.9 million followers still don't see my content. So he's still shadow banned, apparently. Elon Musk is such a petty mother. It's actually kind of funny, but so these are their texts back and forth. This is crazy, guys. Elon, am I being shadow banned? And then Elon says, we went on lockdown after discovering that Substack had stolen a massive amount of our data to pre-populate their Twitter ripoff. Looks like there is still a blanket search ban, should be fixed by tomorrow. Going forward, tweets with Substack will not appear in For You unless it is paid advertising. Just like Facebook, Insta, etc., they will appear in Following. Matt Taibbi then says, Elon, I've repeatedly declined to criticize you and have nothing to do with your beef with Substack. Is there a reason why I'm being put in the middle of things? This seems really crazy. Again, he's not reaching out to Elon to say, hey, what the hell are you doing with Twitter? I just reported on these Twitter files because I actually care about free speech. I actually care about censorship. What are you doing, bro? That's what he should be texting Elon Musk about. Like, if you have any credibility whatsoever as a quote unquote pro First Amendment journalist, then that's what you should be freaking out about. And to be fair, maybe he was at other points. We don't have every single text between the two, but still, here he is sticking up for himself saying, hey, come on, bro. I've been playing this game exactly how you wanted me to. I haven't criticized you once. Even when I went on freaking Mehdi Hassan's show and was put in the impossible situation of being confronted by the evidence that you were collaborating with the right-wing government of India to censor the critics of the PM or whatever. Even then, I refused to criticize you, stooping lower than I probably ever have in my entire career to lick the taint of a billionaire. Anyway, he says, yeah, Elon, I've repeatedly declined to criticize you and have nothing to do with your beef with Substack. Is there a reason why I'm being put in the middle of things? This seems really crazy. Elon replies, you are dead to me. Please get off Twitter and just stay on Substack. And then Matt says, this is about the Substack thing? Seriously? So he doesn't even really have a response to that you are dead to me. I'd be like, fuck you, bro. Like, what the hell? Don't talk to me like that. I'm Matt Taibbi. I don't know, something, a little bit of backbone.
There's a direct quote on this podcast for somebody to go back in time and find where I said verbatim on this podcast that Elon was going to, quote, Matt Taibbi and throw him away like a used condom. I swear to God, you can go and find that. This is exactly what happened. So anyway, in case you're looking for somebody with dead on political forecasting, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button.
Yeah, no, straight up. We called this from day one, guys.